Despite the fact that Anime Expo 2025 ended nearly a month now, I can't help but still feel a little bit excited at some of the Expo's biggest announcements, particularly the new and returning seasons of anime that will be coming out in the following year or so. But none were almost as exciting as the fact that we finally got an update related to the Black Clover anime that went on a 4-year hiatus. In this case, it was confirmed that the anime will be returning with a second season and will still be produced by Studio Pierrot, the same company who is currently working on Core 4 of Bleach's 1000-year Blood War anime. Frankly, this might easily be the best news we ever got about this underappreciated series, especially towards fans who have been starving for new content of it, even after the first Black Clover film was released. However, as of right now, no official release date has been announced yet, not even a confirmation of who will be directing the new season. I mean, it was initially believed that the anime would return in 2026, but as I stated, given how Studio Pierrot is more focused on the Bleach anime, I wouldn't be surprised if the Black Clover anime was delayed a bit, since I'm sure the animators will need their time to rest after Bleach is over. Still, if you look at it another way, it could be a good sign that the anime is finally getting some bit of recognition, as the staff in Studio Pierrot are likely taking their time to at least make sure the new season will be a lot better than how the series first started. And since the rest of the Black Clover series will be adapted in a seasonal format, that means the quality of animation will be greatly improved. Don't know it will be on the same level as Bleach is right now, but we can only hope that it will be a lot better than what we saw in the Black Clover film, which, don't get me wrong, it was already great. I'm just saying they have a chance to go further. Now, how many episodes will be released in the new season is also unknown, but assuming it'll be following the same route as Bleach, then we could get 13 to 14 episodes, 26 if we're lucky enough. But both are doable since the anime will obviously just be finishing up the Spade Kingdom arc. And believe me, considering the major events that the anime will be heading into this part of the arc, the animators will need all the time they can get to do each event justice, especially the ones I think will make the season as one of the series' best. So, without further ado, welcome to Animanko 9000, a channel where we talk about content related to anime, manga, and alternative media. In this video, I'll be listing down the top events we'll likely see within the new season of the Black Clover anime. By the way, if you haven't reached this point in the manga, beware of heavy spoilers. Also, as usual, if you want to hear more of the contents I mentioned earlier, just subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Okay, to start things off, I'll be first going over the relatively small and quick events that happened during this part of the arc, such as the mages who were stationed at the Heart Kingdom arriving to help with the raid against the Spade Kingdom. Granted, some of those mages don't really play a big part later on, but what I like about this scene is that I always feel like the mangaka himself is telling us readers that the MC isn't the only one who got a massive power up after the Dark Triad invaded their kingdoms. Of course, it wouldn't be on the same level as the MC, but after learning true magic from the elves, basically a higher level of control of their abilities, they were able to decimate a horde of low-ranking devils, who are strong enough to give most mages trouble. Additionally, with the sudden appearance of mid-rank devils, the battler would take a step further by having Luck step in and display his newfound power by quickly and quite effortlessly kill the devils before they could react. Once that was over, we don't really see how the rest of this event played out, as it was seemingly got cut off. Honestly, I feel as though this event could be extended a bit, but I guess that's just me. Anyhow, while still on the subject of power-ups, let's move on to another event where it involves the arc's 3 major antagonists, the Dark Triad, gaining new transformations. Or, to be more accurate, after a character who goes by Morris opened the first gate of the underworld, he also created a direct channel where the Dark Triads can access 100% of their respective devil's power. Although my disdain for the Dark Triad is about as great as my hate for All for One from My Hero Academia, I will admit that the design of their sort of final form is impressive looking, and I do like how they are clearly inspired from Bleach. What's more, the power that came with their form did set the mood right at how the situation has become more dire than before, as they instantly turned the tide of battle by nearly overpowering the opponents they've been facing. Plus, them getting stronger forms not only prevented the defeat, it also felt like they were reminding the readers that they are the arc's 3 final bosses for a reason, and not even the strongest magic spell that can counter their magic is going to be enough to beat them. Personally, it only makes me hate the Dark Triads even more, and if there's one good thing I could say about them achieving 100% devil power, is that the more powerful they are, the more satisfying their downfall will be. In any case, let's move on to another event that I think some of us will find enjoyable to watch, and that's the Crimson Lion's former temporary captain Meriliona and Devil Union Outstock going against 2 of the Spade Kingdom's demons. Now, for the most part, the 2 demons aren't that important during the raid, merely used to represent the Spade Kingdom's overall ruthless might, as well as the kind of threat the Magic Knights are facing, which is further emphasized when almost none of the entire Clover Kingdom's Magic Knight squads were able to stop one demon who was attacking said kingdom. At the same time, the demons are mainly there so Mereoleona can show more of her monstrous strength and allow Asta, along with his adopted brother Levi, to test out their new power. Because of that, I'm mostly curious at how the new season will showcase Mereoleona's Hellfire Incarnate form and Asta's Devil Union form. Of course, if you watched the Black Clover film, we did see Mereoleona use her form when facing against one of the previous Wizard Kings. But as for Asta, it would be great if the studio added a transformation process when he first turned into his Devil Union form. Other than that, I just can't wait to see how the animators will do an amazing job at displaying both characters' immense strength, such as Mereoleona overpowering the demon in the Spade Kingdom twice, and Asta emitting a devilish presence to tell the demon that no harm will come to his home country right before he kills it with one sword slash. Anyway, as we move further down the list, we now start to get into the arc's most major events, one of which is the Black Bull's Vice Captain Noct going against two of the highest ranking devils, Lilith and Nahama. Overall, not one of Noct's best moments as he basically got the visor treatment at the end, which is a shame since this is the Vice Captain's first major fight. That being said, the fight still did good at showing how ridiculously powerful two of the 10 highest ranking devils are, while also admitting the kind of challenge and hopelessness that Noct is facing. Additionally, it also gave us more background of how Noct came to be as a character, as well as more of his other Devil Union forms, showing just how versatile he is with his other abilities. Not to mention, he at least proven to be far more powerful than the Vice Captains the series has shown thus far, as he was able to invade and somewhat hold his own against the devils despite being heavily outclassed. And after fusing with the two devils he is contracted with, Noct even managed to briefly trap the two highest ranking devils in what is essentially a conceptual prison. Unfortunately, the two devils would somehow escape said prison by cancelling out Noct's magic with their own, and had Asta not showed up in time, the Vice Captain at that moment would have likely been killed or worse. Though let's be real, if Noct had fought any other opponent, he would have likely won, but at least we know why Yami chose him as a Black Bull's Vice Captain. This next event, while important, is one that kinda eventually became my least favorite, and that's Yuno getting his revenge match against his squad's tormentor Xenon. To be clear, the fight itself wasn't bad, but the issue here is that it's another one of those major events where Yuno always seemed to acquire some massive power up that honestly felt unearned and kind of out of nowhere, and him suddenly gaining a new grimoire during this fight is a perfect example of it. Plus, it doesn't help that Tabata made Yuno into a character that always had fortune go to his favor, but never show him work towards his goals like Asta. I mean, we did see him train before the raid began, so it could disprove my statement that he doesn't work as hard as Asta. But unlike the MC, we don't really see his progress, so it still caused some fans to eventually grow frustrated with the character. Nevertheless, as I said earlier, the fight itself isn't that bad. If anything, after Yuno manages to pierce the Devil Host's heart, we do get to see a bit of Xenon's past, and how his past life parallels with Yuno's before taking a dark turn. With this in mind, this fight will hold even more significance towards Yuno, as he is now practically fighting a dark mirror of himself. Then, after reminiscing about his past, Xenon would have his destroyed heart be replaced with the Devil's Heart, and upon going through another transformation, he later overwhelms and seemingly defeats Yuno with his newfound powers. But just when it looked like Xenon was the victor, the Vice Captain would get back up after finally acquiring his Star Magic power, and even though I have issues at how Yuno suddenly got this power, I do find the ability to be somewhat interesting. Like how it makes Yuno versatile by allowing him to fire off beams, create barriers, and teleport between the star-shaped orbs. So, by using his new star ability along with his existing ones, Yuno would continue fighting his dark counterpart on equal footing, and after an intense clash from both sides, the young Vice Captain was able to finally beat Xenon, getting his revenge for some of his fallen comrades from the Golden Dawn, and in a way proved that the path Xenon took was wrong. As I said, not really one of my favorite fights, but if anything, it's an okay conclusion for Yuno's character arc. Coming up next is one event that I think many of us would want to see once the anime returns, and it's the moment where the Black Bulls finally arrive to rescue their Captain Yami. Now for me personally, what I enjoy about this particular event is that we get to watch more of the Black Bulls' unique magic and impressive teamwork, and frankly, I never get tired at seeing how each member's magical ability will further complement each other as they bring out their best. And after some of them went through some special training of their own, they definitely did a great showcase of their new abilities during their fight against Morris, who became the host of the Ultimate Devil Lucifero. Moreover, I love how that once the squad beat Morris, we then get this amazing shot of all the Black Bulls gathered together, perfectly capturing the moment when they came to rescue Asta and Nero, except now they come to demand the return of their Captain Yami. However, the rescue process wasn't done yet, because later on, as Lucifero was gathering all the low-ranking devils and combining them into a powerful yet giant misshapen kaiju to act as a vessel, he also took the coffin that Yami was in and had it fused to the vessel's body. In response, the Black Bulls, in their own typical fashion, would press on with the rescue process by continuously attacking the monster with a hellstorm of their most powerful magic spells. When that didn't work, the scene would then shift towards Asta, who is teleported a fair distance away from where the Black Bulls are at, and gets ready to deliver the coup de grace. Then, upon turning into his Devil Union form, the MC would raise his arm and unleash a powerful and large horizontal slash, cutting the large devil in half, and giving us a clear homage to how Yami first used his dimensional slash Equinox. After that, not only was Yami finally freed from his captives, the Magic Knights also freed the Spade Kingdom from the Dark Triad's tyrannical rule, making it seem like the arc has finally come to an end. But as it turns out, this was nothing more than a prologue of the arc's real final battle. So, as a follow-up to Yami's rescue, we then move on to the event where all the available Magic Knights go up against the strongest devil Lucifero. Now, at this point in the arc, if I remember correctly, there were a lot of mixed responses at how this fight played out. Either it was due to the way the arc's final villain was portrayed, the lack of casualties, or bad power scaling. I just know that some fans had issues with this fight. Still, I think this event, to an extent, did live up to being the arc's climactic battle, because once Lucifero made his full appearance, a blight with only half of his power, the devil definitely proved to be the greatest challenge that Asta has ever faced, with not even Devil Union and anti-magic being enough to beat it. Heck, even with the presence of the Magic Knight captains, many of us knew it wasn't going to go well. In fact, the whole situation kinda reminds me of the time when Aizen soloed the Visors in the remaining Gotei 13 during the Arankar saga. And it pretty much was, as their best efforts weren't enough to really damage the devil. As a result, with most of the Magic Knights taken out, and with Asta getting the worst of the beatdown, Yuno, alongside Mereoleona before she collapses, was the only one who could still fight. However, thanks to Mimosa, as well as Nero managing to heal Asta the best way they can, the MC rejoins the fight, and soon after both Yami and Noct will also join in, leading to a battle of 4 vs 1. Then, as the fighting becomes more intense, all 4 Magic Knights will go beyond their natural limit, using every spell they have, including some impressive combo magic and teamwork in order to defeat Lucifero. Unfortunately, near the end of it, not even all 4 of them together could defeat the strongest devil, and despite Asta being the only one left standing, it seems like there was no chance of winning. Yet, in a surprising turn of events in this hopeless situation, Asta's Devil Union evolved, gaining a massive power-up that allowed him to soon overpower the strongest devil. Once Lucifero's defeat was near, the devil makes one last desperate attempt to crush or weaken Asta and Levi by using his remaining gravity magic. Luckily, however, thanks to Yami's and Noct's magic cancelling out the gravity field, Lucifero then tries to escape. But as one last middle finger to the devil, Yuno teleports it to where Asta is, allowing the MC to finish the fight and defeat the devil for good. After that, besides a few surprises, this is where the arc truly ends. So yeah, after going through all of that, I do understand that this event does have flaws, but I'm hoping that the returning anime could somehow slightly fix it, and still blow our expectation as the first opening song, Hiroka Amira, plays in the background as the event reaches its climax. Regardless, let's move on to one other event that I can't wait to finally see animated, and that's Noelle and company facing off against Vanica and the Devil Megicula. Though I'm not sure how everyone else think about this event, the reason I place this high up here is because it highlights Noelle's growth as a character. From what was once an ugly duck at the start of the series to now a beautiful swan, represented by her new transformation that she dubbed Saint Valkyrie dress, her development towards here really put most female lead characters to shame. Not to mention, this fight was very personal towards Noelle, because in addition to making it her mission to rescue the captured Heart Kingdom's queen, Lower Pishka, the fight was also a good chance for her to kill Vanica and the Devil Megicula, as both are responsible for the death of her mother. So, upon transforming into a new Valkyrie dress, Noelle would then proceed to have her revenge match against Vanica. And after a quick exchange between the two, Noelle would soon overpower the battle-hungry devil host, and was very close to killing her after winning the fight. Of course, while the conflict with Vanica was over, the fight against Megicula has only just begun. As such, once the devil manifested itself through Vanica's body, it would waste no time to overwhelm Noelle and the other mages, first by manipulating Lower Peachka's body to forcefully fight against her would-be rescuers as a newly formed devil, and then spreading more of its powerful curse magic. No soon later, most of the mages were taken out, and with Noelle almost out of magic, as well as on the brink of defeat, Megicula would seemingly end the fight by turning Lower Peachka into a living bomb, claiming it would be powerful enough to destroy everyone who is within the Spade Kingdom. Luckily, however, and much to Noelle's joy, the timely arrival of Asta prevented such a fate, as he stopped the explosion from happening at all, and saved Lower Peachka in the process. Now, before I continue, I just want to make a small note that while I am glad that Asta showed up to save the day, I'm also thankful that he didn't steal Noelle's spotlight since it would be doing the character dirty. Instead, the MC mostly played the support role, and with his presence, Noelle was able to regain her resolve and continue the fight. Next thing we know, the captains of the Blue Rose and Grey Deer will also join in to make their counter-attack. Even the sudden arrival of Luck and Have a Life Gaja stepped up and got a chance to shine on their own as they pull off some amazing attacks, while also doing their part to make sure Noelle finished the devil off. Then, just when it seemed like Noelle failed to kill Megicula, Nozel will also arrive to give his sister some needed support. And at that moment, the captain of the Silver Eagle was able to destroy the devil's body, leaving only its heart exposed. Once that was done, Noelle will soon charge in and slice Megicula's heart in 4, killing the treacherous devil for good, and avenging their mother in the process. Honestly, I kinda like how this scenario played out. It really reminds me of how Byakuya would show up and help Rukia finish her fight against the Stern Reader Asnod from Bleach. Also, it's a nice representation of how the relationship between the siblings has mended, and it might have become better after they worked together to kill the devil that caused their family harm. Anyway, as a result of Megicula's death, all of the curses left by the devil were finally broken, and along the way, the soul of the siblings' mother will also be free, leading to a brief touching moment where the mother will hug her kids and show how proud she is of their growth. For that, hoping Studio Period does whatever it can to make this event as perfect as it can be. However, not as much as the event where Asta would face off against two of the highest ranking devils, Lilith and Nahama, which I'm personally excited for. Now, for the record, even though Asta taking down the demon in his Devil Union form the first time was amazing, I feel like him challenging 2 of the 10 highest ranking devils right after he saved Noct left a much bigger impact, especially how the fight let us see the full might of Asta's newfound power. In this case, despite being a 2v1 fight, the MC manages to hold his own against the devils without too much trouble, even successfully cutting one of them apart with his Demon Destroyer blade. And frankly, I like how it was done, as the fight really gave us a good sense of where Asta is at and how far he has come since the beginning of the story. Of course, the battle was far from over, and as a response to Asta's strength, the 2 devils will later fuse together, growing so much stronger that the magic output they released could have destroyed the entire Spade Kingdom. That being said, it was nothing that Asta couldn't handle either, and after fusing his Demon Slayer blade with anti-magic, he didn't just deflect the fused devil's magic attack, but also destroyed it, further showcasing just how much stronger Asta is. After that feat, the once gleeful devil who enjoyed toying with his so-called prey has begun to feel fear, forcing it to fly around the area in order to wait for Asta's Devil Union form to wear out. Unfortunately for it, Noct was able to have it immobilized, thus giving Asta the chance to cut the fused devil in one single slash, and kill it before Devil Union wore off. As soon as that happened, we then see Asta and Levi celebrating by crossing their marked wrists in victory. Seriously, I can't wait to see how the returning anime will portray this fight, since it might easily be one of Asta's best moments. However, out of all the events that's been covered within this list, the last event I'll be mentioning is one that I know many of us are looking forward to see once the anime returns, and that's the fight between Magna and Dante. Though some of you may say otherwise, it doesn't change the fact that this fight is the most memorable as well as one of the biggest highlights of the entire Spade Kingdom arc. Not to mention it's the most unique, because instead of doing the usual shonen trope where the protagonist or some other major character would defeat one of the arc's major villains, it actually allowed a side character like Magna to win, and with no outside help from the start. Basically, think of a what-if scenario where a guy actually beat Madara, or Rock Lee had beaten Gaara. Furthermore, I like how that once Magna got a chance to use his new spell, Soul Chain Deathmatch, he practically made power scaling irrelevant, as both combatants' magical power were split equally, thus allowing Magna to fight a supposedly superior foe like Dante in a hand-to-hand brawl. Plus, no power of friendship was involved here, just simple logic of how one would carefully use their abilities, as well as deciding who has enough perseverance to be the only one left standing. Granted, Dante did hold the upper hand for most of the fight, and there were many times where it seemed like Magna was going to lose, but near the end of it, the former's own arrogance and poor control of his magic power eventually led to his downfall. As such, once Dante's own magic has completely ran out, Magna would start his counter by first delivering a simple yet strong left uppercut, and despite Dante's attempt to retaliate, Magna soon overpowered him, knocking the entitled devil host down and ending the fight with the Magic Knight yelling in complete victory. Frankly, as someone who hates Dante to an extreme, I find it satisfying at how his defeat was played out here. For you see, in addition to the fact that Dante was humiliated and beaten by someone who he considers to be inferior, and revealing how truly weak he is when not relying on magic, Magna kinda disproved the devil host's viewpoint at how malice is every human being's true nature. Because at the end of the fight, it wasn't malice that allowed Magna to win, it was hard work, as well as a strong willpower that can overcome just about anything. hence why Magna is standing tall, and Dante is lying pathetically defeated on the ground. But you know, that's just me, and I really can't wait to see this fight animated. Alright, that's about all the top events we'll likely see within the new season of Black Clover. I mean, there is one event involving Julius, but I'd rather not spoil that one. In any case, let me know in the comments down below at which of these events you are looking forward to see once the anime returns. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.